When I was just 13 years old, I had the craziest spiritual awakening ever. Like my life went from this to that in 1 second and everything changed. But what this really led to me being the person that I am today. In this video, I'm gonna show you how this whole thing has affected my life and just tell you my story, and then I also am going to be sharing some advice or just some things that I've learned from going through a spiritual awakening at such an early age and all the other spiritual awakenings on the way, because you don't just have one spiritual awakening. So it's January 2021. I was a complete atheist. I was kind of being in a depressive episode of mine. I just wasn't feeling good. I always was listening to sad music. My life just didn't feel good anymore. It's almost like I had kind of lost my purpose. I've gotten off the way. But the universe saw that, and then it was just like, this bitch needs to be redirected into the right energy. So a friend of mine back then introduced me to a guy from school. I didn't really like him. I didn't think much of him, but then we just got much closer. And that's when everything started. So at first we were just like friends. Things were normal. Like we kind of got closer. But then we just hopped on FaceTime calls. Like basically every day we were FaceTiming until 3 a.m. sometimes. Those were like really deep conversations. We talked about the universe. We talked about our existence. Anything. And he introduced me to spirituality in a sense. I didn't think anything of this. He told me about all these types of things, and that's how my spiritual awakening was kind of triggered. My first spiritual awakening. I thought spirituality is about crystals, it's about meditation, which it is, but that's like a tiny aspect of actual deep spirituality. And I think spirituality is something that everyone has to define for themselves. Like, what is spirituality to me? And I'm also going to be sharing my own unique definition of spirituality. Okay, so now let's just kind of like go back to the story. He introduced me to all these things, and then I had this thing triggered. I was just like, oh my god, my existence is fake. And then I went to the so-called dark night of the soul, and I also heard about the rituals and the bad elites, as they say. I've really come to a realization in the past few months that I believe constantly talking about reptilians, their rituals, whatever the elites are doing is absolutely stupid, because you're putting yourself into all those negative vibrations. You're putting yourself into such negative, deep emotions by talking about all that suffering, by talking about their war, by talking about some kind of bad aliens, their rituals, all those sacrifices, these kind of things. If you constantly talk about this, you are hurting yourself. And even if those things are true, okay, so be it. Like, what are you gonna do about it? That's just the way it is. We're living in a duality universe. I used to think I constantly have to be up to date to the new Illuminati views or some celebrities, sacrifices, those types of things. But that's so stupid. Why are you focused on the outer world so much? Why are you so focused on what someone else is doing? What kind of weird rituals they're doing? Be focused on yourself and be present of who you really are. That is something I have learned and wanted to share. But if we go back to the chronological timeline, I did not understand it at that time. I constantly was doing research on the internet. I had like my thing, I was just constantly Googling stuff, Googling spiritual knowledge, and I developed an addiction for knowledge almost. I was just like, oh, I constantly need to know this. How do I align my chakras? What about this crystal? What about this and that and that? And I have really noticed, and that is one of my main learnings from having a spiritual awakening at such an early age, is people will constantly try to find something to hold on to. And this is what I mean by this. You have people that are into religions, you have people that are into football, you have people with interests, and people try to find a group to be present in. If they do not feel confident enough in themselves and they feel insecure, then they're going to find something to find their anchor in. And for me, that anchor was spirituality. It was that new age spirituality. I was trying to find my anchor in this. It's the same as like people try to find their things in cults. They're trying to find their things in celebrities. They're trying to anchor their existence onto something external because they are not confident and they do not really feel like they have an identity themselves. So they try to find their identity in someone else or in something else. So if an atheist does not find their religion, they're gonna try to find their religion of some sort in a celebrity. They might be addicted to Taylor Swift. I used to be the same, by the way. They might then develop an unhealthy dependency on something different, on drugs, alcohol, whatever. Or another example is someone does not feel fulfilled in what they do, so they try to find their purpose in something that is not actually their purpose. So I believe our human purpose is to actually create. Our human purpose is to be here and do the things that we do. I mean, me, I'm almost 16 now, and I'm just creating these YouTube videos, and I believe that is part of my sole purpose on this planet. But people try to find their things in spirituality. So spirituality to me means having a whole concept. So think of it this way. Imagine you're a fish in a fish tank. Imagine you're a little goldfish swimming around in your little tank. It's just a limited, tiny little space, right? This is what I call the average human experience. They're like limited. That is my main word for this, limited. But when you get out of this fish tank and you realize outside of this fish tank, you have an entire ocean to swim in, which is spirituality, you're like free. In a sense. To me, spirituality means I can express myself freely and I can just do whatever I want, while also not neglecting the parts that really fit into the spirituality that you might think of, like crystals and incense and all that type of shit. Like, it has nothing to do with it, almost nothing. You need to find your anchor in who you are and in your own soul purpose, and therefore defining your own definition of real spirituality. That's something I've learned when I was like 14, and I still have to realize it sometimes. So find your purpose in an internal way, not in an external way. You will never find your purpose by being obsessive over some celebrity. You're never gonna find your purpose by constantly praying to Jesus and God to make you feel better about the problems that you think you have, instead of taking them in your own hands and manifesting a greater life for yourself. Because this entire learning really led to the pivotal understanding of me knowing that I'm the only person who is actually me, and I'm part of something very big, which is called like the universe, and we're like all God. God is within us. We're all divine beings. And what religions do maybe is they separate you from God. They separate you from God. They think God is not within you, but you are God. Not in a sense of like you having a God complex, but in the sense of like God is within every one of us. And we're all creators, just like God, because we are living inside of God, or inside the universe, or inside the source, whatever you want to call it. This divine creator is God, and that creator is you. This is like one of the craziest things I've learned on my spiritual journey at such an early age. I'm gonna be honest, I am proud to still have these learnings, and like think about it. Now I'm 15 years old. How is my life and like my spiritual development gonna look like when I'm 20? It's gonna be crazy, and I'm so excited for the future. But you know, all of this to say, we now have to get back to the chronological story again. And I was just with this guy. At some point, after having my first little spiritual awakening, or like my second, that's when things got different. But then I had another spiritual awakening, which was essentially me understanding, spirituality isn't just love and light. Spirituality is not about all these lovely things that you see on the internet. It's not about meditating, about retreats on Bali. It's about trauma. Spirituality is about addressing your inner trauma and therefore healing it and rewiring your subconscious brain, becoming free in a sense. And that was another, as they say, dark night of the soul, right? Like you realize your existence is not just based upon lovely things, not just based upon joy and love and light, but you have trauma. You have literally such crazy things within you, just like limiting beliefs, and your perception of your own identity is defined by your inner things that you believe are true and your actions. So for example, if I believe that I am not good enough, there's going to be a reflection in my actions and the things that I feel in life. So what this means is whatever I do, whatever I say, whatever comes to my mind is always a reflection of my inner being, of my inner understandings of myself and the universe. It's like my inner perception being reflected upon the people. So if you ever get triggered by someone, that is just a reflection of your inner self. That is a reflection of your trauma. I know a coach online, and she said, whenever you feel triggered, you have to see it as a present. You have to see it as a gift. And this was just like, wow, because your triggers, they are things that need to be addressed. See it as if like the universe or God is showing you the things that you still need to work on. Those are the things that you need to heal. So if I feel triggered by someone commenting something stupid on my YouTube videos, I know that this is something inside of me that is afraid of other people judging me. There's something inside of me that takes other people's opinions too seriously. And therefore, I need to look deeply within myself, unravel those deep parts within my identity, within my childhood self, myself that feels triggered by other people insulting me. So you get what I mean? So whatever you have, whatever trigger it is that comes from your inner understanding of yourself has to be addressed in a sense of you healing it. So what I really recommend you doing it, if you haven't yet, get yourself a therapist. I don't mean like conventional therapist. Try to seek for a spiritual therapist, someone who does it on a psychosomatic level. And this already leads me to the next point that I've learned on my spiritual journey as a really young guy, is that our body stores our beliefs and our trauma, whether it's negative or good, in our body. So, for example, if you're having gut issues constantly, your gut symbolizes things that have not processed yet. So there might be some trauma that has not been processed yet. There might be some events, some beliefs within you that are not processed, for example. And I even am still working on this myself. And you need to get yourself a therapist, as I've just mentioned, someone who does it and helps you heal these things on a psychosomatic level. Because I don't know if you've ever noticed, you don't feel your emotions just inside your head or like in a simple way, you feel them inside your body. So think of it this way. If you're worried about someone, where do you feel that feeling? You feel it inside your stomach, inside your gut. That's what you feel. Or another example, if someone is just giving you a weird feeling, like you see your intuition is telling you something's off about that person, you feel it in your gut. That's why people say they have a gut feeling. But also, you can feel emotions here. If you're afraid to express yourself, you're gonna feel it in your throat chakra, like right here where you express, you just speak. That is something that I'm also still working on right now. So you get what I mean, right? Your body stores beliefs, traumas, all these types of things inside of itself. And therefore I also understood on my path that when you actually heal these things and you reprogram your subconscious mind, at some point you're literally gonna forget your old version. If you feel confident, you will simply no longer be identifying with that old version of you. If I look back at myself from like 2 years ago or like 3 years ago when I had this spiritual awakening, I would just see I'm a completely different person. I do not identify with this person. I am still very proud of who I have become, but this is no longer me. This is a past version of me. And it's important to understand that you are you now and there is no future and there is no past. I always say this. So now let's hop back to the timeline again chronologically. I was like 14 or 15. I had major spiritual awakenings. I've just started to develop immensely. Like my life has completely been changed. I've developed a passion for self-improvement. I developed a passion for manifestation, aesthetics, all these types of things that really fulfill me. Like they literally make me happy and I just love telling people about it. And developing these passions for myself and healing some certain trauma that I have, and I'm still healing it by the way, has really helped me become the person that I am today. I was really able to feel fulfilled as a person. Like I feel fulfilled as I am now. That is something that most people cannot say. And that is exactly the reason why I created this YouTube channel. I help people become their best version and be happy and fulfilled within. And I'm still going to go through other spiritual awakenings. I'm literally going through a spiritual awakening right now. And that is also just another part that I believe spirituality means to me. To me, spirituality means embracing your life purpose that you have decided for yourself and you as a soul when you came here, obviously, and also improving yourself. The reason I got into self-improvement and manifestation is because I know I'm a creator. I am here to create. So if I improve myself constantly and I'm looking for new opportunities, I'm looking for new ways to love myself, to love the people, to help other people, which is what I'm doing with this YouTube channel, with new ways of expressing myself and really healing the things that I do. So if I were to just summarize this video in like 3 main points, I would say, first of all, spiritual awakenings are something that are going to be there for your entire life. You don't just have one spiritual awakening, you're going to have many spiritual awakenings, and that's an amazing thing. And number 2 is find your purpose within. People constantly try to look for things on the outside, right? They try to find their anchor, as I've just mentioned, in someone else, in something else. But you really have all the answers within. Because you are you and I am I, and all the people need to simply realize that they are themselves, and only they themselves can change something. No one will ever save you. And learning number 3 is you need to have your own definition of spirituality. Spirituality is something that means something different for someone else. It is such a broad umbrella term that it is so different for every single person. So find your own definition of your life purpose, of your own spirituality. And only then you can really direct this energy into the things that you can call your purpose. Because if you have done all these things that I've just talked about, then congratulations. You have found your purpose and you are a spiritually fulfilled person. And I'm I'm absolutely grateful to know all of these things and be able to share it with you people, because I know that I help so many people out there. I've gotten such lovely comments and it just really fulfills me, honestly. I haven't recorded a YouTube video in quite some time now. I was on vacation, but all those things just led me to be here right now, and I'm exactly where I need to be, and so are you. You didn't find this video for no reason, whether you watch it till the end or not, whether this video goes viral or not. Like, it doesn't even matter, because I say what I need to say and it's my mission to do so. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to my channel because there's going to be much more coming soon. I have some really big projects and videos coming up because I have a lot of shit planned and a lot of new ways to improve my channel. I want to make my videos even more structured, kind of, so you can understand this even more. By the way, this video was barely scripted. And yeah, you can really just follow my journey along, and one day when I have like 100,000 subscribers, you can be like, okay, I watched his shit when he just had like 200 subscribers. Thank you so much for watching again, and see you in the next video. I hope you loved this video because I love you guys. Bye. Mwah.